Hey guys, here we go into a drill video on how to get Mike Tyson footwork so that you can accomplish amazing KOs like this leaping left hook. Now, this leaping left hook is much simpler than it looks. He's actually combining two motions at once. One is going to be the pendulum step, what he's doing with his feet, and then the left hook, which is what he's doing with his hands and his upper body. Now, this move is littered throughout boxing history, nameless, right? If you don't know a lot about boxing, or maybe you don't pay attention to a lot of the great fighters, they've all had forms of this motion. Here we have Roberto Duran. This is going to be a really clear look at it. See how he has his weight here on his front foot, his knee, his head? This is his line here. This is where he is in the ring. And he just feinted Sugar Ray Leonard. And now Sugar Ray Leonard is expecting the right hand to come from this position. So he moved over here to get away from the jab to bait the right hand over here. So because of this motion, Roberto Duran is now going to shift forward instead of throwing the right hand as he transfers his weight to the back foot. And this causes Sugar Ray Leonard to put his head down here, thinking that he evaded the right hand, but now he's not in a position to re-enter the line because of the fact that rather than throw the right hand, Roberto Duran was able to use the pendulum step to close off the distance between him and his opponent. We're going to watch it again one more time. Boom. And now what's going to happen when he shifts, this foot, his back foot, is going to take the place of his front foot. And it's going to wind up in a very similar position here as his hips rock this way. Okay? Boom. And now his new position in the ring, if we go back one more time, boom. Boom. When his foot gets on the ground, his foot is over here, and his weight is now on his back leg. And now he's going to shift his weight forward into Sugar Ray Leonard, and that's going to give him the momentum to throw that next punch here. Now, here's Roberto Duran stunning Sugar Ray Leonard, but this motion here, the pendulum step, is one of the only real ways to be an offensive fighter that isn't just a plodding forward, can't do anything but slug kind of fighter, right? Here's Mayweather using a very similar technique, but throwing his punch on the line much sooner during his pendulum step than you see Mike Tyson in the last clip. But again, the motion is essentially the same, but this is how he derives his offense is with the pendulum step. In spite of the fact that Mayweather is not a very offensive fighter, this is still the only way that he finds offense in his attacks. And again, very similar motion, blasting off of the left leg, pendulum stepping forward and throwing the hook. Nowhere near as good as Mike Tyson is, as Mike Tyson very likely has the greatest technique of any fighter of all time. Now, here's Mike Tyson doing a pendulum step backwards, getting all his weight on the back foot and then shifting his weight to the front foot before locking himself in place to throw this left hook here. Again, this is like two pendulum steps, boom, boom, and then into the hook here. And now, obviously, Mike Tyson, a master, right? Just one of the greatest technique of all time. I just have to say it. Double pendulum stepping into a left hook that drops his opponent. Just absolutely perfect. Now, I said that this punch this move has been bled into boxing, or has bled through boxing in many, many different places. And here's an example real quick, and we're going to break this down a little bit, take a look at it at the end of the clip. But Mike Tyson is going to do a pendulum step. This is the beginning of the first round with this guy. He's going to get on the line with this guy, slip to the front foot, back foot. And then he's going to move to the front foot, slipping this guy's jab. This is going to put him in place to pendulum step forward, right? Jump forward with that left hand. But he's going to take a little slow, and instead of just blasting out with a big hook, he controls the line with a jab instead. With that same momentum that he's penduluming with, he's now going to slip to the back foot and take a step with his left leg at the same time. Now, this is all off of the pendulum motion and then blast into a right hand. So using the pendulum step as he moves forward to set up a pull counter against his opponent with that same motion and blasting him with the right hand. Again, Mike Tyson, the greatest technique of all time. He's just absolutely one of the greatest boxing artists of all time. He was just a boxing genius. And I don't care what Teddy Atlas says. If he can't see that, like Mike Tyson, why would somebody who's 5'10" be fighting at heavyweight? Why? Other than to chase greatness, right? Mike Tyson could have fought at welterweight, right? Couldn't Mike Tyson have fought at welterweight? Could you imagine him at welterweight? Or any weight? Any weight, right? And he could have started fighting at welterweight. I mean, probably not because he was jacked, but anyway, we're going to get into today's workout, and we're going to learn the pendulum step, and then we're going to learn to expand it into boxing, okay? So, it's actually a relatively basic move, and it is a move that as a fighter, you should be practicing and should have learned within your first month of boxing. Surprise, I know. But maybe even the first day, because that's how basic this motion is. And the fact that you have to practice it so many times before you get good enough to use it in the ring, you want to start using it right away, especially because it doesn't break any of the 3 most important rules about learning boxing. Cross the line, transition your weight, and change positions. You're able to accomplish all of these motions, all of these rules, and still practice this motion. And again, if you're not familiar with my channel, as long as you adhere to those 3 rules when you're practicing your weight transitions and you're fighting your opponents, you will learn how to box much, much, much more quickly than if you don't. Okay, so practice those 3 rules. Practice them on the heavy bag. Practice them on the double end bag, right? When you're throwing your straight punches. Cross the line, transition your weight, and change positions. But anyway, so that's what we're going to be practicing today. And we're going to get in the same position on the line. The line is above me. And again, we always want our head kind of off the line, right? But we know where it is. It's our center line. So we're going to start here, and we're going to start penduluming. So what does that mean? We're going to jump with this leg and land on this leg. Okay? And we're going to kind of turn around when we do it, okay? Because our weight is going to shift as we do it. So we're going to land, and when we land, you're going to bring this shoulder to the line, okay? So that you can get all your weight on the front foot here and get into your next position, okay? And this is going to be, if you're an orthodox fighter on the front foot, I call this position 1. If you're a southpaw, if you're a southpaw, then your right leg will be position 1. But either way, it's going to be your offensive. Either way, you need to practice both of them. As you can see, Mike Tyson showing right there. So, jump, catch, down, right? Boom, shoulder, right? And we're just going to be pendulum stepping here for like 2 minutes, okay? We're going to talk about it and go through it, and yeah. And then we're going to do another drill after this, and then maybe another drill after that. So, here we go. Now, when you're going through it, keep the same rhythm, okay? You just want to get better at transitioning your weight, crossing the line, and changing positions, okay? 1, 2, 3. Now, in the beginning, it's okay if you catch yourself on the ball of your foot, okay? When you go here, front foot, back foot. Front foot, back foot. But as you get better, you're going to want to shortcut that and catch yourself directly on your heel so you can change positions quicker. The more time that you spend on the ball of your foot, the more time you spend blocking your own weight transition. As you notice, you don't begin changing positions until you relax your heel, right? Until your heel starts coming to the ground. Spoiler alert, guys, that's why you don't step with your jab like this. All those coaches that say to do that. You got to get to the outside first. Create a rhythm, right? You don't need to step like that. Anyway, continuing with the drill. Do it as much as you can. Follow those 3 rules. Keep the rhythm. That's going to be very valuable in the rest of our training. And just keep going, okay? Again, it's going to resemble doing a squat, right? Again, squatting or that motion is one of the most important motions or athletic motions in all of combat, or all of sports, right? Every sport uses a squat at some level. Every sport transitions their weight at some level. I think. Yeah. Catch yourself with your heel if you can. All right. Okay, we're going to take, 30 seconds? And then we'll do the next drill. Okay. So, that's the first step in the pendulum step motion. So we're going to go back and watch this clip a few times. And I just want you guys to see how fluidly he's making this same motion as he moves forward. Slipping to the front foot. Boom. When he makes it back to the line, he controls that space so that he's on the line only long enough to draw an attack that he can slip, right? Because his opponent knows, oh, he has to control the space now, right? Boom. And then he's able to set up and bait that jab from him and use a pull counter. Just beautiful, beautiful boxing. All right. We're going to put 2 more minutes on the clock. And we're going to do the next drill, which is basically the same drill, but we're going to expand on it just a little bit. So, we were doing it, right, in one spot, just going up and down. Now, we're going to kind of expand on it. When we pendulum, we're going to take that step and carry our weight out, okay? Boom. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you want, you can go higher, right? You can go smaller if you want to go faster. But try to continue following the rules of changing positions and transferring your weight, okay? The crossing the line part, you'll see the results of that later. But again, just practice the footwork, catching the ground. And at this point, we're going to start making it a little bit more like boxing, okay? Well, we'll save that for the next drill. Okay? Just keep practicing this motion. All right, you're doing great. But again, this is very basic footwork that once you learn it, you're going to use every day. All right, timer, I can't see what you're saying, but you need to hurry up, man. Did I put 20 minutes? Damn, this is not even the final drill, huh? Okay. Okay, I said, come on. We're going to play this clip here. We're going to play it 3 times, 4 times. It's basically the same clip just over and over again, but this is Mike Tyson going on a rampage with his pendulum step. Look at all of the amazing things that he's able to accomplish and that are derived from this motion. The leaping left hooks, being able to enter the line nearly from the back foot while throwing a power punch. Just incredible. Again, the pendulum step into the left hook here. Pendulum step into the left hook into the right hand. Pendulum step into crossing the line, into almost a pendulum step. He's ready. But again, a very, very advanced and expert level drill, but it's a drill that you need to start learning very early in your boxing because this is eventually where it goes, right? Eventually you're going to max out on how effective just going forward and backwards can be with you and your opponent, and you're going to have to find ways to create new angles, right? So here we're going to go into the last part of the drill, and You can do this one at any pace if you want the leaping ones where you're going really far out to the side, or if you just want the one where you're in one place, right? Whichever one that you want, or whichever way you want to do it. But we're going to make it a little bit more like boxing now by adding a block into it, okay? So when we finish our pendulum step, right, get to the front foot, boom, block. Now we're here, right, block. Not just bringing our shoulder forward, but we're trying to cover the line, okay? If our opponent was directly in front of us and they threw a straight punch, we want to be able to block that shot. If you want to block it with your hand, or if you want to block it with your arm, you want to block it with your forearm, however you want to block it, just block that shot. Not like this though, we're not catching, we're blocking, okay? Even though this is catch and counter. Anyway, they're all the same thing. But, front foot. Oh, let me turn on that stupid timer. All right, we got 2 more minutes, guys, and I am getting sweaty. All right, let's go. 2 more minutes, and if you got music, go ahead and turn it on. All right, pendulum, block, 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 block. So, this is boxing, guys. From here on out, it's a lot of weight transitions, a lot of crossing the line, and a lot of changing positions, okay? There are more rules to boxing. If you're interested in learning what they are, feel free to check out my Patreon, where I provide personalized boxing coaching, reviewing your technique, reviewing your shadow boxing, reviewing your heavy pad work, double impact work, your sparring, anything that you need me to review to help you get better. And it's only $20 a month. $20 a month, $20 to sign up. And it's also littered with film study, discussing boxing theory, discussing the way that I teach boxing, how to control the line, and just general film studies of all the major fights. Whew, I'm getting tired. So check it out. Again, we do a lot of sparring. People sending in matches and fights of their amateur fights. So if you're an amateur fighter and you're looking to get better, check it out. We're having a lot of success. And it's a lot of fun. Yes! All right. So, like I was saying, personalized breakdowns of your amateur fights, your sparring, your shadow boxing, in the effort to improve your technique, your rhythm, your timing, and your understanding of the goals in boxing. What it is that you're trying to accomplish when you're actually in the ring with your opponent. And how to make sure that that's always what you're thinking about. Also, littered with interesting, unique, and fun drills, and interesting and new ways to kind of train old things, okay? But if you're interested in learning more about boxing or learning more about yourself and your technique and how you can get better through your own personalized drills, check me out on Patreon. Thanks, guys.